Costco is the land of endless samples, industrial-sized cereal boxes, and the kind of carts that make your trunk look tiny. Shoppers swear by the savings, the quality, and of course that $5 rotisserie chicken that seems to defy inflation itself. But behind those towering shelves and warehouse-sized smiles are secrets that Costco would rather you not focus on. And some of them are big enough to fill one of their bulk tubs of mayonnaise. Let us start with the layout. You think it is just randomly stacked towers of bulk goodies? Think again. Costco's floor plan is designed like a psychological trap. Each aisle a carefully curated maze designed to maximize what they call impulse exposure. It is no accident the electronics are right up front, the snacks are in the middle, and the milk is hidden so deep in the back, you need a search party to find it. Why? Because while you are walking past the pallets of protein bars and flat-screen televisions, your brain is silently loading up on temptation. Costco calls this the treasure hunt model. The idea is that every time you shop, the layout subtly shifts. Products rotate locations, seasonal items appear in odd spots, and high-demand basics like eggs and milk are pushed as far from the door as possible. This forces you to pass through as many zones as possible, increasing the chance you will grab something you did not plan to buy. You thought you came for one thing and left with 30. That is not a mistake. That is marketing with a forklift. And while we are talking about those giant carts, there is a reason they are so big. It is not just to hold your 48-roll toilet paper pack. Studies show that shoppers with larger carts buy up to 40% more per trip. Your brain subconsciously wants to fill the space, so you end up tossing in that extra pack of smoked salmon or tub of guacamole, even if it was not on your list. Bigger carts mean bigger receipts, and Costco knows exactly how to use that against you. Now let us talk about those legendary samples. On the surface, it is a feel-good freebie. A nice lady in a visor giving you a bite of microwaved sausage while you contemplate life under fluorescent lights. But samples are more than just generosity. They are one of Costco's strongest sales weapons. According to internal sales data, a product that gets sampled can see a sales jump of over 200% on the same day. It is not just about taste. It is about mood. Giving someone food makes them feel welcome, relaxed, even indebted. Costco uses snacks to literally feed your sense of loyalty. What they do not tell you is that the sample workers are not even Costco employees. They work for a third-party company that specializes in food demos. That means Costco avoids having to train them, pay benefits, or take responsibility for how that mini chicken pot pie was handled before it ended up in your mouth. One ex-demo worker admitted that items were sometimes heated up properly or kept in warmers long past their recommended hold time. So that tiny snack might be a tiny gamble. Bon appetit. Then there is the membership model. Costco's entire empire is built on people paying just for the privilege to shop. But here's the secret. The real money is not in the products. It is in the membership. Those annual fees generate billions in revenue and come with almost no overhead. And because renewals are automatic and require effort to cancel, many people keep paying even if they barely shop there. What is worse, Costco tracks your buying behavior through your membership card. Every scan builds a profile. How often you shop, what categories you like, how much you spend. This data is then used to tweak promotions, target marketing, and negotiate supplier deals. So while you think you are just grabbing a case of sparkling water, Costco is learning how to predict your future purchases before you even make them. Creepy? Just a little. Let us move to the bakery section. You know, the place that smells like warm muffins and poor decisions. Those giant muffins and croissants might look homemade, but the dough comes in frozen. Not just frozen, but pre-mixed, mass-produced, and shipped from centralized facilities. The final bake is done in-store, sure, but the illusion of freshly made is mostly for show. One former employee called it just reheat and repeat. And those muffins? Each one contains nearly as much sugar as a can of soda. Good morning, diabetes. And then there is the rotisserie chicken, the famous $5 bird that people treat like it came from a golden farm blessed by angels. But here's the part they do not advertise. Costco sells those chickens at a loss. That is right. They actually lose money on every single bird. Why? Because it gets you in the store. It is what they call a loss leader, a product priced below cost to lure you into the building, where hopefully you will make it rain in the snack aisle. Costco is so committed to keeping the chicken at $5 that they built an entire poultry processing facility just to control costs. It is like a chicken fortress designed to supply those birds without raising the price a single penny. But controlling the price means controlling every part of the process, from feed to slaughter to packaging. That kind of vertical integration raises big questions about labor practices, animal welfare, and quality oversight. Because when your business model depends on on selling food below cost, something else has to give. If you're finding these tips helpful so far, a quick like or subscribe really helps us out. Let us stay on that rotisserie chicken for a second, because there is something else they are not telling you. Those birds are injected with a salty brine solution before cooking to make them juicier, tastier, and able to survive sitting under heat lamps all day. Sounds good, right? Not when you find out that one of those chickens packs over 2,000 milligrams of sodium. That is nearly your entire recommended daily limit. Before you even add a side, your heart may be saying thank you, but your arteries are calling for backup. And speaking of the heat lamps, ever wonder how long those chickens actually sit there? Costco does not label their rotisserie birds with timestamps visible to customers. Employees rotate stock and pull older chickens when they look too dry, not necessarily when a food safety timer goes off. One former worker revealed that some chickens sat out for up to 4 hours during busy shifts. If you are not grabbing the chicken right after the trays come out, you may be biting into a bird that has been baking in its own steam longer than most movie marathons. But hey, maybe you are thinking you will play it safe and head to the food court instead. That $1.50 hot dog and soda combo is practically a rite of passage for Costco members, and it has been the same price since 1985. But do not let nostalgia blind you. There are some greasy secrets behind that famous deal. First, the hot dogs are made with mechanically separated meat, a process that uses high-pressure machines to scrape every last scrap of flesh from bones. It is efficient. It is also the same method used to make cheap dog food. Bon appetit. The soda? That refillable cup might be fun, but it is a sugar bomb with a straw. One large soda has over 60 grams of sugar, more than the recommended maximum for 3 full days. And because it is self-serve, the machines do not always get cleaned as often as you might think. One employee admitted they were told to just wipe the nozzles unless there was visible mold. You might want to think twice before filling up that fizzy fountain of regrets. Now let us talk about the real moneymaker in the warehouse. The impulse aisle, also known as the corridor of chaos, right before checkout. It is packed with batteries, phone chargers, skin creams, seasonal toys, and kitchen gadgets you never knew you needed, until you were trapped in a line with nowhere else to look. This is Costco's version of the grocery store candy rack, but supersized and engineered for adults. According to retail analysts, over 30% of Costco members add something from that section to their cart while waiting to check out. It is a goldmine of last-second decisions. They even track which products sell best when placed in those lanes and rotate them constantly to keep things fresh and tempting. Ever notice how it is never quite the same every time you shop? That is on purpose. They are testing your impulse control, and with lines that sometimes stretch for 30 feet, it is like walking through a hallway of temptation with a loaded cart and a weakened will. Let us head to the pharmacy section for a second. Costco's prescription prices are often lower than what you would pay at chain drugstores, and their generic options are surprisingly affordable. Sounds like a win, until you realize this only applies if you ask for it. What they do not advertise is that you can use the Costco pharmacy even if you are not a member. That is right. You do not need to pay the membership fee to access the low-cost meds. But unless you know that secret, they will gladly take your card at the counter. Even worse, many customers do not know they can price check medications and ask for the lowest cost alternative. One pharmacist admitted that unless a customer explicitly asks about generic pricing, they are automatically charged for the name brand. That means you could be paying double for a drug simply because you assumed Costco always gives the best price. Spoiler alert, they do not, unless you force them to. Back over in the meat section, Costco wins points for offering organic options, USDA prime beef, and wild-caught seafood. But even here, things are not always what they seem. That organic ground beef might come from cows raised without antibiotics, but it does not mean they were grass-fed or raised in humane conditions. Organic just means the feed was organic, not the lifestyle. And that Kirkland signature salmon? It might be wild-caught, but it is often processed and frozen overseas before being shipped back for packaging. By the time it hits your cart, it has taken more flights than most travel bloggers. The same applies to shrimp and tilapia. Most of Costco's frozen seafood comes from farms in Southeast Asia, where labor and environmental practices have been criticized repeatedly. In 2021, a seafood watchdog organization flagged several of Costco's suppliers for unsafe working conditions and poor waste management. But because the packages list vague sourcing info like product of multiple countries, you would never know unless you did a deep dive. And if you think their quality checks are tight, consider this. One batch of frozen scallops was recalled after customers reported a strong strong chemical odor that turned out to be cleaning agents left from the factory. Costco's produce is another double-edged sword. Yes, it looks beautiful, and yes, it is often cheaper than the grocery store. But buying fruit and vegetables in bulk is not always the money saver it seems to be. How often have you bought the giant container of strawberries, only to throw out half because they molded before the week ended? That is by design. The packaging is large, the margins are thin, and the shelf life is short. Costco relies on high turnover, not long-term freshness. If you do not eat it fast, it goes bad, and you go back for more. One insider tip: the date stickers on Costco produce are coded, and trained employees know how to read them to rotate stock. But customers? Not so much. So if you're grabbing that pre-cut melon or bag of salad, you might be taking home the older inventory pushed to the front. The freshest produce is often buried in the back, and you are not supposed to dig. But if you do, you just might dodge that slimy surprise waiting in tomorrow's lunchbox. Now let us talk about returns. Costco is famous for its no questions asked return policy. Bought a kayak and changed your mind? Return it. Ate half the granola bars and decided they were too crunchy? Still returnable. Even electronics come with a generous 90-day window. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the part that stays behind the scenes. Costco is tracking those returns. Not just what you brought back, but how often, how much, and how close to the limit you push it. That friendly refund at the counter, it gets logged and sent to a system that quietly monitors members who might be abusing the policy. And if you show a pattern, like buying and returning TVs every few months, or consistently eating half a product before bringing it back, your account gets flagged. Some customers have even been banned from returning items entirely. Costco may not say it to your face, but their computers are definitely keeping score. And speaking of faces, have you ever noticed there are no visible clocks or windows inside the main shopping floor? That is intentional. Just like a casino, Costco removes your sense of time to encourage longer visits. There is no natural light, no hour markers, and no sense of urgency. You could lose 30 minutes just looking at bulk paper towels. This environmental design is called time cushioning, and it works. Studies show that people spend more money in stores where they are not rushed, and Costco has mastered that psychological trick better than most. Even the food court has a role in all this. It is located right next to the exit for a reason, not because it is convenient, but because it gives you one more chance to pull out your wallet before you walk out the door. You think you are grabbing a quick snack after shopping, but really you are being funneled into one last sales opportunity, usually after you are already tired, hungry, and less likely to care what you spend. Strategic placement meets strategic hunger. Let us not forget the way they play with inventory. Costco uses what is known as limited time scarcity, which means products are constantly rotated in and out with little or no warning. That patio set you saw last week? Gone. That specific granola you liked? Also gone. This creates what marketing experts call urgency psychology. If you do not buy it now, it may never come back. And that fear of missing out drives spontaneous purchasing more than almost anything else. What Costco really wants is for you to make decisions quickly and without hesitation. That is why some of their biggest sellers are unadvertised. No signs, no flashy displays, just quietly placed in high traffic zones. These are called sleeper deals, and they rely on your instinct to grab and go. Think about it. How many times have you tossed something in the cart because it seemed like a good deal, even if you were not sure what it cost last week? That is the point. They blur the pricing baseline on purpose, and then there are the prices themselves. You may have heard about the secret Costco pricing codes. A price ending in 97 cents usually means it is a markdown. A price ending in 00? That is a manager special or an item that is about to be discontinued. If there is an asterisk in the top right corner of the sign, that means it is going away for good. These little signals are not widely explained to customers, but savvy shoppers use them to find the best deals before they disappear. The fact that it feels like a treasure hunt, also part of the strategy. Even the product placement plays into this. Costco often places high margin items like vitamins, supplements, and skincare products at eye level or on the way to popular staples like milk and eggs. This is called interception marketing, and it is designed to catch you off guard while you are on a mission for something else. You come in for bread, you leave with a $50 collagen bundle. That is not an accident. That is architecture. And while you are thinking you got a steal on that protein powder, do not forget the dreaded cost per use illusion. Just because something is cheap per ounce does not mean it saves you money. Costco relies on the math being too big to process on the fly. Are you really going to use 5 pounds of ketchup before it expires? Or 30 sticks of deodorant before your next birthday? Probably not. But it feels like a deal in the moment, so into the cart it goes. Of course, there are some good deals at Costco, but even those come with a catch. Many of the electronics and appliances are Costco-specific models, built to slightly different specs than what you would find in other stores. That means you cannot always compare prices apples to apples. Even though it looks like the same TV, manufacturers often cut corners for bulk store models by using cheaper components or reducing features. So yes, you paid less, but you might have gotten less too. Then there is the Kirkland signature brand. It is no secret that many Kirkland items are made by major name brands. Costco just rebrands them, but what you might not know is that these contracts can change quickly. One month, your Kirkland coffee might be sourced from Starbucks. The next month, it could come from a different roaster entirely. Costco does not announce these changes, and the ingredients may stay the same on paper. But if you noticed your favorite product tasting a little off lately, it might not be your imagination. It might just be a new supplier. And while we are talking about Kirkland, let us not forget the wine. Yes, Costco is one of the largest wine retailers in the world. And yes, many of their Kirkland wines are excellent values. But others, not so much. Because wine laws vary by state, Costco's wine buyers have to work through a patchwork of distributors, and the quality can vary from one region to another. So the Kirkland Cabernet that was amazing in California might taste completely different in New York. And no, you cannot return an opened bottle unless it is obviously spoiled. One sip too many, and that gamble is all yours. Then there is the exit check. That smiling person with the highlighter is not just making sure you paid, they are gathering data. They check how many items are in your cart versus your receipt, yes. But they are also trained to spot purchase patterns and catch return fraud. In fact, multiple warehouses use those exit checks to track common theft items and scan for bulk buying that might violate Costco's resale policy. You thought it was a friendly send-off. It is actually surveillance with a smile. So yes, Costco gives you bulk savings, free samples, and industrial-sized tubs of peanut butter. But behind the warehouse walls are strategies, tricks, and data gathering tools designed to make sure you leave with more than you planned and come back sooner than you expected. It is not just shopping, it is a system, and now you know exactly how deep the system goes. If this peek behind the pallets made you rethink your next bulk haul, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the stores you trust. Thanks for watching, and remember, the truth is not always on the menu.